The last words of my friend were nothing more than simple eloquence. "The rest is silence," he said, and then fell into the quiet dark of an eternal slumber where furious angels quiet themselves for only brief moments to reflect and weep on the passing of mere mortals. In the quiet moments just before his passing, I was asked to absence myself from felicity for a while, and in this world draw a breath in sadness to tell the story of what happened here within the castle walls. Know that two truths are told as happy prologues to the swelling act of the imperial theme. Because of this notion, I will not deliberate what conspired, for that will be left for historians, writers, and clowns, for I have no real tongue for it. I have not come to darken the day with lies and half-truths of the matter, but rather to express the love and admiration for not only a fellow countryman, but a fellow soldier, scholar, and friend. Today the sun is unusually bright but low in the sky for this time of year, and regardless of the cold, I believe this brilliant and clear day is in truth proof that our friend has been given reception into the realm of our Lord above. Like the story of Moses parting the sea for his followers, our prince has surely parted the gates of heaven for his entrance into his kingdom. An unwelcome friend has bullied his way into our home and asked payment to ferry our fallen across the river Styx. We as a kingdom are not yet willing to place the required coins of payment over the eyes of our beloved. We as a kingdom are here to celebrate a life that was taken far, far too soon. We as a kingdom will set alight the bonfires of our remembered past and let those fires burn for days until the sky of the setting sun is awash with the same color, so we know that he led a good life, even though we already know this deep within our collective hearts. We as a kingdom will march forward in our solidarity despite the loss of our prince. We as a kingdom will march forward in our solidarity despite the loss. And we as a kingdom will be at peace in the days, weeks, and months to come. The last few weeks of our Lord Hamlet's life were filled with an amount of tragedy that none should ever be given an audience to. The death of his father, the king, the wedding of his mother, the queen, to his uncle, the death of the fair Ophelia whom he loved, and the death of his childhood friends who were set to England. Yet he lived his life fully and completely, and I am sure that he touched many lives that are present here today. My friend was born within the maelstrom of war, and in his life those drums of war could be heard in the thunderous cries from his father the king, as they shook the foundations of heaven, and were more resounding and more deafening than any scream of anguish coming from the tenebrous depths of hell. Hamlet once noted that fortune had doomed his soul, that from birth the prince knew he would lose his true self in order to quench the fiendishly blood-hungry demands of the soul surrounding his kingdom, and that one day, following in the footsteps of his Goliath-like father, would send armies forth, like springs in the valley, to flow between the mountains and purify the kingdom of his enemies. He passed far too quickly from this existence, and I regret that I will never be able to see such a man take command of the throne and restore it to its once grand eloquence, as well as restore the nobility of his future line of succession. Hamlet was a lover of historical drama, as well as more modern pieces, but not only born within the kingdom, but from far-reaching lands. He did not hesitate to grant access to a wandering band of rogues and theater players into the castle to provide entertainment for the court and those he so loved. My friend was also always ready to and willing to recite a joke to entertain or pose a question on life to make those around him question their own foundations of what it meant to be a man. Hamlet loved to travel. He once regaled me with the story of a seaborne voyage that he took with two of his other friends, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, in order to see a faraway land. He was at home with his future subjects, and rather than prefer to sit within the confines of stately politics, my prince could be found digging in the dirt with the gravediggers. I remember how one particular gravedigger explained how long it would take a man to rot in the earth. The answer was given with such flippancy that the knave seemed to disregard the life of those buried around him, as those same bones were now such commonplace to him. Moments later, my Lord Hamlet found the skull of the former court jester, Yorick, and was filled with a sorrowful insight of remembrance that almost made him sick with introspection on how one forgets their own sense of self. My friend, to thine own self be true. Hamlet knew that the kingdom could not see him as he truly was, that of a man and a student. Rather, he knew that he was seen as a prince, the next in a succession of a long and bloody line of kings. He regularly mentioned to me, after bouts of laughter, Horatio, I do forget myself. It was under this the burden that Hamlet did forget himself. With his dying words, my friend answered loudly and with great fervor that he was not his father, the king, that this was and is the difficulty that Hamlet struggled with throughout the entirety of his life. Hamlet passed his inheritance of a blood-soaked country and the voice of Denmark to Fortinbras. He did this without an entangled and bloodied war, ensuring the lives of thousands of his countrymen. For but a brief few moments, Hamlet was our greatest king. My friend said to me, "There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt in your philosophy." To that I will say plainly, I, who as the world is my confectionery, all the voices, eyes, and hearts of men gathered here at this duty, more than I could frame at any employment, the numbness of death has struck me hard upon, and the love of my brother has fallen. Like leaves from an oak, with the stinging touch of an early winter's night, I am left open and bare for every storm that blows from the surrounding kingdom. For now, Prince Hamlet, may you sleep and end the heartache and thousand natural shocks that the flesh of man is heir to. May you sleep and perchance dream, and find that undiscovered country a warm and peaceful place to ruminate on the work of man, the quintessence of dust.